I welcome you all to another lecture. Today we are going to discuss the operation of a single phase fully controlled converter or full converter. In the previous lecture we discussed the operation of a single phase half controlled converter or semi converter for different loading conditions, for purely resistive load, RL load and RLE load. And the mathematical expression for converter average output voltage was Vd equal to root 2 Vs by pi times 1 plus cos alpha. And I told you that this expression is valid only for continuous conduction mode of operation, CCM. It's not valid for discontinuous conduction mode of operation, because in the discontinuous conduction mode of operation, you have seen yesterday, for RLE load, your load voltage is like this, something like this. Okay, and we have identified different intervals. This was from alpha to say pi. From alpha to pi, we have identified the interval from alpha to pi as thyristor conduction interval. And during this period, your load voltage from alpha to pi, your load voltage is same as source voltage. If you recall, from pi to beta was another interval, pi to beta, and that was called freewheeling interval. And during freewheeling interval, your load voltage Vd is equal to 0. And from beta to next instant of firing, that is pi plus alpha, that is beta to pi plus alpha, we have already seen that your load voltage Vd is equal to E. So therefore, if you find the average load voltage, you cannot use this formula. This formula assumes that your load voltage is equal to source voltage only, and in this formula there is no E. Whereas in RLE load for discontinuous conduction mode of operation, E also shows its presence in the load voltage waveform. Okay, so but in this equation there is no presence of, no E is involved in this. So therefore this expression for average output voltage of converter is valid only for continuous conduction mode of operation. For discontinuous conduction mode of operation, if you have to find average value of load voltage, then you have to take different intervals. From alpha to pi, your load voltage is Vs, and during this interval, you can say that average voltage is given by this formula. And then from pi to beta, your load voltage is 0. And from beta to pi plus alpha, your load voltage is E. So you have to take different intervals and find average voltage in 3 different intervals. And that will give you total average voltage of the converter. But if the same converter is operating in the continuous conduction mode of operation, then the conduction will change like this. It will be something like this. In the this is discontinuous conduction mode of operation. In the continuous conduction mode of operation, E does not show its presence. And since E does not show its presence in the load voltage, then you can use this formula. So therefore, the mathematical expression for converter average output voltage, which we have derived in one of the previous classes, that is Vd equal to root 2 Vs by pi times 1 plus cos alpha, it is valid only for continuous conduction mode of operation. For discontinuous conduction mode of operation, this expression is not valid. So this was in continuation with last lecture, that is semi-converter. So today we are going to discuss and analyze single phase fully controlled converter. Single phase fully controlled converter. This is also called single phase full converter. Single phase full converter. It is called fully controlled converter. It's also called full converter. Let me draw the power circuit diagram of fully controlled converter or full converter first. So this is the power circuit diagram of a single phase fully controlled converter. We will first of all take purely resistive load, R load. This is R. The load voltage is, this is positive bus, this is negative bus, load voltage is Vd, and load current is Id. And this is the sinusoidal source voltage Vs, and it results in the flow of source current Is. Now you can see the converter comprises of 4 devices, 4 thyristors, T1, T2, T3 and T4. Whereas in semi-converter, we have seen a semi-converter comprises of 2 thyristors and 2 power diodes. But a full converter comprises, in a full converter, all the 4 devices are SCRs, thyristors. We don't use power diodes here. Remember this thing. So for purely resistive mode, again, we can understand the operation of converter with the help of graphical approach. So we will draw the waveforms. So this is source voltage waveform. This is pi. This is 2 pi. These are the zero crossing intervals. And then next waveform is for gating current pulses, IG1, G3. For positive half cycle of source voltage, you have to fire T1 and T3 simultaneously. Whereas in the semi-converter, you have to fire only one thyristor, because this was replaced by power diode here. So here you have to fire a pair of devices simultaneously. For all positive half cycles of source voltage, when this terminal is positive with respect to this terminal, T1 and T3 have to be fired simultaneously. And for all negative half cycles of source voltage, T2 and T4 have to be fired simultaneously. So therefore the firing pulse pattern, IG1, G3, that is the firing, there's gating current pulses for thyristor T1 and T3. I call them IG1, G3. They are shown like this. Let us assume alpha is the delay angle or firing angle. So first firing pulse is issued here. The firing pulse is issued to thyristors T1 and T3 after a delay of alpha degrees in the first positive half cycle of source voltage. This is your source voltage waveform. In the next positive half cycle of source voltage, firing pulse is again issued, but it is issued after a delay of 2 pi plus alpha. Similarly, you can show the firing pulse pattern for other pair of devices, T2, T4, and let us call those firing gating current pulses are IG2, G4. So T2 and T4 will be fired during all negative half cycles. This is your first negative half cycle. So firing pulse will be issued to T2 and T4 here after a delay of alpha. So if this is pi, this instant will be pi plus alpha. Next firing pulse will be in the next negative half cycle here. So this is the firing pulse pattern for this pair of devices and this pair of devices. T1 and T3 pair will be fired in every positive half cycle of source voltage, as you can see. And T2 and T4 pair of SCRs will be fired in every negative half cycle of source voltage after a delay of alpha degrees. Alpha is the delay angle. Let us draw the waveform for load voltage and load current on the next axis. So let us draw the projections, zero crossing projections. This is pi, this is 2 pi, and so on. Okay, the firing delay angle is this. This is the firing delay angle. The delay of alpha, after a delay of alpha electrical degrees, this is the positive half cycle of source voltage. This terminal is positive with respect to this because we are considering the positive half cycle of source voltage. So after a delay of alpha, thyristors T1 and T3 will be fired. So they will immediately go into conduction. And when they go into conduction, they connect your load across the source. Okay, so the equivalent circuit will be like this. This is your source voltage, Vs. Since T1 is conducting, so T1 will be on, and this is your load resistance. And you see current will flow like this through T1, then through load, and then current will return through T3 because T3 is also fired. So current will return through T3. So you can see when T1 and T3 are conducting, load gets connected directly across the source. So your load voltage Vd is same as source voltage, and load current is Id, which is same as source current Is. So therefore, the remaining segment of so from 0 to alpha, since thyristors, all the thyristors are off, converter is off. So load is disconnected from the source, load voltage is 0. At omega t equal to alpha, T1 and T3 are simultaneously fired. They go into conduction, they connect the load across the source. So remaining segment of positive half cycle of source voltage will appear across the load. So this is your load voltage VD. So it is same as source voltage. So at omega t equal to pi, source voltage is 0, load voltage also becomes 0. And then it remains 0 till next instant of firing, pi plus alpha. At pi plus alpha, another pair of valve devices, T2 and T3 is fired. Because the source voltage has now reversed its polarity, negative half cycle of source voltage is there. So this terminal is positive with respect to this terminal. T2 and T4 both are waiting for the firing, and they are fired after a delay of alpha electrical degrees. So that means from pi to pi plus alpha, at omega t equal to pi, so load voltage is 0 and load current is also 0. So that means T1 and T3 already have stopped conduction at omega t equal to pi. And now negative half cycle of source voltage comes. T2 and T4 are waiting for firing, but they are fired after a delay of alpha. So that means from pi to pi plus alpha, none of the devices is on. So load is disconnected from the source, load voltage is 0. At omega t equal to pi plus alpha, T2 and T4 pair is fired. So this pair immediately goes into conduction and the equivalent circuit becomes like this. So now this is your source voltage Vs with reverse polarity of the voltage. Your source voltage is now going through the negative half cycle. So this is plus, this is minus. You can see T2 is fired, current flows like this through T2, then becomes load current, and current returns through T4. It goes back to the source. So T2 is fired and this is your load, and current returns through T4. And this is what happens. Current returns through T4. So therefore, your load voltage is again equal to source voltage. See, when T2 conducts, this positive potential comes here, and when T4 conducts, this negative potential comes here. So your load, this bus, still, although source voltage has become negative, but load voltage remains positive. This always remains positive bus, this remains negative bus. So load voltage is equal to Vs, and this is your load current. And then this load current flows like this. This becomes your source current. So source current in this case is equal to minus Ed. In this case, in the first case, source current is same as Id. Now, therefore, from pi plus alpha to 2 pi, your load voltage is the remaining segment of source voltage, positive half cycle of source voltage. So it is again positive. And then there is a repetition. From 2 pi to 2 pi plus alpha, load voltage is 0. From 2 pi plus alpha to 3 pi, load voltage is equal to source voltage segment, and so on. So this continues. So this is the load voltage waveform. This is your load voltage waveform. So depending upon alpha, you can have different average values of load voltage. If alpha is small, you have large segments of load voltage applied across the load. If alpha you increase alpha, you delay the firing of thyristors, less and less voltage will get applied across the load. So average load voltage will decrease. So therefore you can control alpha from 0 to 180 degrees, and for alpha equal to 0, load voltage, average value of load voltage will be maximum, and as you increase alpha, average load voltage will decrease till you reach alpha equal to 180 degrees, at which load voltage will be 0. Okay, fine. Now what about load current? Since this is a purely resistive load current, there is a linear relationship between load voltage and load current. Load current will very closely follow load voltage. So this will be your load current. It will be having same pattern as load voltage. So this is load current ID. Similarly here in the next half cycle, this is load current, this is load current, this is load current. So this is load voltage, this is load current. What about source current? Now I have already told you that source current IS is equal to plus ID when T1, T3 are on. See, when this pair of devices is on, this is source current and it is equal to plus ID. And this is your plus ID. So your source current will be same as load current. So this is source current for positive half cycle. And for negative half cycle of source voltage, when other pair of devices is conducting, T2, T4, you can see this is load current and this is source. Now direction of source current has changed. Here in the previous case, direction of source current was like this, it was equal to plus ID. Here direction of source current has changed when T2, T4 pair is conducting, and it is equal to minus ID. So source current is equal to minus ID when other pair is conducting, that is T2, T4 pair is on. So it is equal to minus ID. Minus ID means just like this. So this is your source current. Then it is again positive, and it is again negative. So this is the source current. Okay, so this is load voltage, load current, source voltage, source current. So from alpha to pi, T1, T3 pair is conducting, and from pi plus alpha to 2 pi, T2, T4 pair is conducting. Then again T1, T3 pair conducting, and T2, T4 pair is conducting. Okay, now you can, another point, very important point is that load, the converter is operating in discontinuous conduction mode of operation, because load is purely resistive and load, your load current very closely follows load voltage. When load voltage is at its peak value, load current is also at its peak value. Then load voltage decreases, load current also decreases. And when load voltage is zero, load current is also zero. You can see load current starts increasing here and then it decreases, it becomes zero here. From pi to pi plus alpha, there is no load voltage, no load current. From pi plus alpha to 2 pi, load voltage is there, load current is also there. Then from 2 pi to 2 pi plus alpha, there is no load current. So therefore you can see load current is discontinuous. So therefore for resistive load, there will always be DCM. The converter will always be operating in discontinuous conduction mode of operation, DCM. It is not possible to operate the converter in continuous conduction mode of operation. It will always operate in discontinuous conduction mode of operation, because you can see current becomes discontinuous at pi, then it becomes zero at 2 pi, 3 pi, and so on. So this is for purely resistive load. Let us quickly go and discuss the operation of converter for purely inductive load. Although purely inductive load does not exist in practice, but it's very important to understand the operation of converter for a purely inductive load, because that will help us in understanding the operation of converter for RL load and RLE load. Now, case B is, we'll take purely inductive load, L load. Let us draw the power circuit diagram once again for L load. All the four devices are SCRs, thyristors. So this is T1, T2, and this is T3, and this is T4. This is your source. This is source voltage Vs, and source current will be Is. Now our load is purely inductive in nature. This is L, this is positive bus, this is negative bus. Load current is Id, and load voltage is Vd. Let us try to understand operation with the help of waveforms. Here we will take different case. We will take alpha less than 90 degrees, alpha equal to 90 degrees, and alpha greater than 90 degrees. So we will take first case, case 1, alpha less than 90 degrees. As delay angle less than 90 degrees. Let us try to understand with the help of waveforms. Again, this is our source voltage waveform, Vs. Okay, alpha less than 90 degrees. I will show the firing pulse pattern on the same axis. I will show gating current Ig. Let us assume alpha is less than 90 degrees, say somewhere alpha say around 40 to 45 degrees. This is the first firing pulse. After a delay of alpha, this is issued to thyristors T1 and T3. During positive half cycles, T1 and T3 are fired. So I have written this firing pulse during the positive half cycle is issued at the gate terminals of thyristors T1 and T3. And in the next positive half cycle, again this is next positive half cycle, again T1 and T3 are fired. And what about negative half cycles of source voltage? In the negative half cycles of source voltage, the other pair of devices has to be fired, T2 and T4. So this is the firing of T2 and T4. This is the firing pulse to T2, T4 after a delay of pi plus alpha. And next firing pulse will be in this negative half cycle of source voltage, again T2, T4. So you can see these are the positive half cycles of source voltage, and in the positive half cycles of source voltage, after alpha degrees, after a delay angle of alpha, T1, T3 are fired. And in the negative half cycles of source voltage, after a delay of alpha, again T2, T4 are fired. So this is the firing pulse pattern for all the four devices. What about load voltage? Let us draw the waveform for load voltage. And load current also. Pi, this is 0, pi, this is 2 pi. Similarly, these are the other zero crossings, 3 pi, 4 pi, and so on. Okay, so our load voltage, let us draw the load voltage waveform like this. You have to draw waveform like this to understand the operation. This is the positive half cycle of source voltage, and in the positive half cycle of source voltage, this is plus, this is minus, this terminal is positive with respect to this. T1 and T3 have to be fired, and they are not fired at omega t equal to 0, zero crossing. They are fired after a delay of alpha. So alpha is the delay angle. So at this instant, T1 and T3 are fired. This is alpha. So that means when T1 and T3 are fired at alpha, your load gets connected to source and it receives the remaining segment of positive half cycle of source voltage, as you already know. This is next instant of firing. Let me first of all draw these instants of firing. This is next instant of firing and this is next instant of firing. So that means from 0 to alpha, your load voltage is 0. I will shade it. From alpha to pi, your load voltage is equal to source voltage. So this is your load voltage, Vd. What will happen from pi to pi plus alpha? This is pi plus alpha. From pi to pi plus alpha, negative half cycle of source voltage has already come. But since negative half cycle of source voltage has come, it is time now. This is the negative half cycle of source voltage. This terminal is positive with respect to this. So this is positive. Now T2, T4 pair is to be fired. But T2, T4 pair is not fired at pi. Their firing is delayed by alpha. So they are fired at pi plus alpha. What will happen from pi to pi plus alpha? Load voltage is 0. Let us assume load current is continuous. So load current is there. See, this is your load current. Let us assume load current, this is load current, ID. Let us assume load current is constant. Or let us assume load current is there. Okay, it's still flowing there. Since load current is there, now we can see from alpha to pi, your load voltage is positive, and it gets applied across, the voltage gets applied across the inductor. And when voltage across inductor is positive, the current through the inductor increases. Now since load is purely inductive in nature, apply the volt-second balance, rule. The rule of volt-second balance says that when voltage across an inductor is positive, the voltage across inductor is positive, it stores the energy. The current through the inductor rises. So what will happen to the current through the inductor? The current through the inductor rises till it reaches its peak value at omega t equal to pi. Current will reach its peak value at omega t equal to pi because at omega t equal to pi, load voltage is 0. And what is load voltage? Load voltage is L di by dt. And we can say at omega t equal to pi, you can see at omega t equal to pi, load voltage is 0. Because source voltage has become 0, load voltage is also become 0. That means L di by dt is equal to 0, which means slope of the current di by dt is 0, which means di by dt is 0. And di by dt 0 means the slope of current is 0. And that is possible only if current has reached its peak value. This is your load current, ID. So current has reached its peak value at omega t equal to pi. That is, clear with the help of this equation. This equation tells us that at omega t equal to pi, di by dt is equal to 0. And di by dt equal to 0 means that slope of the current is 0. And that is possible only when current has reached peak value. At peak value, the slope of current is 0. So slope is 0. After that, what happens from pi to pi plus alpha? Now inductor will start discharging. Okay, from alpha to pi, voltage across inductor is positive. It takes the energy from the source, stores that energy, and current through the inductor rises, as you can see. And it has positive volt-second area. And then volt-second balance says that after that, the inductor has to release the energy, whatever energy it had stored during positive volt-second area. Now it is time for inductor to release that energy. And when inductor releases the energy, the voltage across it becomes negative, because when inductor stores the energy, voltage across it is positive. And volt, according to volt-second balance, when inductor releases the energy, the voltage across it becomes negative and it releases the energy. When it releases the energy, what happens to the current? Current decreases. So that means current is still continuing to flow when negative half cycle of source voltage has come. But T2, the question is what will be the path for the current? Since T2, T4 is fired at pi plus alpha, what will happen from pi to pi plus alpha? So T2, T4 will not provide any path. So therefore, in the previous case, in the semi-converter, you have seen that from pi to pi plus alpha, there is freewheeling action taking place through this path, T1, and in that case, this was power diode D2. Through T1 and D2, there is freewheeling action and load voltage is 0. But that is not the case with full converter. With full converter, we don't have power diode here. We have a thyristor here. Okay. So therefore, current cannot flow, it cannot freewheel through this branch. Why? Because T4 has not been fired. When will T4 be fired? It will be fired after a delay of alpha at pi plus alpha. Since T4 is off, T1 is on, but T4 is off. So it will not provide a freewheeling path. What is the other possibility of freewheeling? Through T2, T3. Now we already know that T3 is already on, but T4 is not on. Again, you can see T4 is turned on, it is fired after a delay of alpha electrical degrees at pi plus alpha. But we are considering this period, pi to pi plus alpha. So from pi to pi plus alpha, T2 is still off, it is waiting for the firing pulse. So freewheeling path will not be provided through this also. So therefore, the only possibility for current to flow is to follow the same path. See, from alpha to pi, T1 and T3 were conducting, T1 and T3. T1 and T3 was fired, they were conducting. So when inductor releases the energy, the current, load current still flows. It has the same path. Okay, so it has to flow through the same path. So therefore, the equivalent circuit will be like this. This is your source voltage. Source voltage has reversed its polarity because negative half cycle of source voltage is not there. T1 will continue to conduct, and this is your load inductor. And see, current, this load current will continue to flow through T1, then through T3. This is T3, and it returns. So this is your load current, load current. Now you can see the inductor, this terminal of inductor is connected to positive terminal here through T3. So this becomes positive. And this terminal of the inductor through T1 is connected to the negative of the source. So this becomes zero. So that means load voltage automatically becomes negative. And it has to become negative according to volt-second balance, because it is now time for inductor to release the energy. And you already know when inductor releases energy, voltage across it becomes negative. Previously, when it was storing energy, voltage across it was positive. You can see voltage across it was positive. And when it has to release energy, voltage across it has to become negative. And now it releases the energy. Okay, the same device, the same pair of device will continue. No freewheeling path will be provided by this arm or by this arm, because T2 and T4 both are off. They are waiting for the firing pulse. So since T1 and T3, they were already conducting, they will continue to conduct even after pi, from pi to pi plus alpha, like this. So therefore, since source voltage has reversed its polarity, a negative voltage will get applied across the load. And what is the negative voltage across load? You can see negative segment of source voltage will get applied across the load. This is the negative segment of source voltage which gets applied across the load from pi to pi plus alpha. Okay. So in semi-converter from pi to pi plus alpha, freewheeling was taking place and load voltage was 0, but not in full converter. In full converter, there is no freewheeling path. So T1 and T3 previously were conducting from alpha to pi, and they will continue to conduct till next instant of firing, that means from pi to pi plus alpha. And since they continue to conduct and source voltage has reversed its polarity, so voltage across the load becomes negative. So therefore, from pi to pi plus alpha, load voltage is segment of negative half cycle of voltage. This. And what will happen to the current? When so this is negative volt-second area. And in the negative volt-second area, we already know that inductor releases the energy and current starts falling. So current will start falling. And then before current can, fall to 0, next instant of firing takes place. T2 and T4 are fired here at pi plus alpha. and T2, T4 will be fired, and your T2, T4 pair will be fired. Your load again gets connected to the source, and it receives the positive half cycle of source voltage. This is the load voltage. So it is again positive. And then from 2 pi to 2 pi plus alpha, load voltage becomes negative. It becomes negative. And then it is again positive, and then again small segment negative, and so on. So this is the nature of load voltage. And this is load current. Now, that means T1 and T3 will not conduct from alpha to pi. T1 and T3 will conduct from alpha to pi plus alpha. Similarly, T2 and T4 pair will conduct from pi plus alpha to 2 pi plus alpha. This is T2, T4 pair. It will conduct from, see, T1, T3 will conduct from first firing to next firing. T2, T4 will conduct from this firing instant to next firing instant. Okay, because there is no freewheeling interval in between. So therefore, we can say that T1, T3 pair will conduct from alpha to pi plus alpha. T2, T4 pair will conduct from pi plus alpha to 2 pi plus alpha, and so on. Then again, T1, T3 pair will conduct from this instant of firing to next instant of firing. And T2, T4 pair will conduct from this instant of firing to next instant of firing. So this is the nature of load voltage. Now load voltage was positive from alpha to pi, positive volt second, that means inductor is storing the energy, and it was small negative from pi to pi plus alpha, that means inductor is releasing the energy, negative volt second area. Now you can see a situation which is not acceptable, which violates the volt second balance. Volt second balance rule says that negative volt second area should be exactly equal to positive volt second area, because whatever energy was stored by the inductor, when voltage across it was positive, all the energy it has to release when voltage across it becomes negative, which means positive area should be exactly equal to negative area. But you can see here positive voltage or positive volt second area is larger than negative voltage or negative volt second area. That means energy stored by inductor is more than energy released. So as a consequence of this, what happens? Inductor, during this negative volt second area, inductor starts releasing the energy, but before it can release all the energy, next firing takes place, and your inductor volt second area again becomes positive, it again stores energy. What will happen to the current? Current will start rising again, and it will rise to a higher value than previous value. And then small negative volt second area is there. In this small negative volt second area, inductor starts releasing the energy and current starts falling, but before it can fall to zero, next firing comes, and again positive volt second area is there. So because of positive volt second area, current will again start, inductor will again start storing the energy, current will start rising, then it falls. Then you will see that current goes on infinitely increasing with every half cycle. With every cycle or every half cycle, you will see with every half cycle, current will go on increasing, and this current goes on increasing till you see smoke coming out of converter. What do you mean by the smoke coming out of converter? Smoke comes out of an electrical converter or electrical circuit only when it is burned, when it burns. Since the current is increasing infinitely, your source will get damaged, it will burn, and all the four thyristors will burn, and even the load will also burn, because current is going to dangerously large values. So therefore, current in every half cycle will go on increasing indefinitely till you see smoke coming out of your circuit. So this is an abnormal operation. This is not a normal operation. This is abnormal operation. It is abnormal operation in the sense because we have assumed alpha less than 90 degrees, and with alpha less than 90 degrees, positive voltage or positive volt second area is greater than negative voltage or negative volt second area. That means energy stored is larger than energy released in one half cycle. In next half cycle, again energy stored is more than energy released. That means in every half cycle, passing cycle, more and more energy gets stored in the inductor and less energy it is able to release. So as a consequence of that, current will go on increasing till the circuit gets damaged, it gets burned, and you see smoke coming out of the circuit. So therefore, with purely inductive load, it is not possible for us to operate the converter at alpha less than 90 degrees. because at alpha, that is delay angle less than 90 degrees, the volt second balance is violated. Your negative volt second is less than positive volt second, so energy keeps on getting stored in the inductor, and current through the load or inductor goes on increasing and increasing till the circuit gets damaged. So this is an abnormal operation. Let us now take alpha 90 degrees. Second case. Case 2. Let us take alpha exactly 90 degrees. At alpha 90 degrees, let us try to understand with the help of waveforms again. This analysis, the operation of converter, if you search any book in the world, the operation of converter for purely inductive load is not mentioned in any book. Okay, so therefore I request you that you please go through this lecture, try to understand the concept. Otherwise, everything you will not get from the literature, from the book. There are some concepts which you will not get from the standard books which are available in the market. So you have to be very attentive while watching these lectures, and try to make the notes and try to understand the concept. This is again your source voltage, Vs, and let me show you the firing pulse pattern. Now alpha is exactly 90 degrees, so this is alpha. Alpha is equal to 90 degrees. So first firing pulse, this is the firing pulse pattern Ig. This is alpha equal to 90 degrees. This is issued to T1 and T3 pair during positive half cycle. And in the next positive half cycle, again firing pulse is issued to T1, T3 pair. And in the negative half cycles, firing pulse is issued to T2, T3 pair. This is pi and this is pi plus alpha, and you can again see that alpha is 90 degrees during negative half cycle, T2, T3, and then in next negative half cycle again firing pulse is issued to T2, T4, sorry, T2, T4, T1, T3. T1, T3 at alpha equal to 90 degrees during issued to T1, T3 pair in positive half cycles, and in the negative half cycles firing pulse is issued to T2, T4 pair. So that is the firing pulse pattern. What about the load voltage and load current? So this is pi, zero crossing, negative going zero crossing. This is 2 pi, positive going zero crossing, and so on. So your load voltage can be like this. You have to show, this load voltage, this positive cycle as well as negative cycle to get the exact load voltage. Now alpha is 90 degrees. This is alpha equal to 90 degrees. Alpha equal to 90 degrees. After a delay of 90 electrical degrees, firing pulse is issued. There is already positive half cycle of source voltage. Firing pulse is issued to T1, T3 pair and goes into conduction, and load gets directly connected across the source, and from pi to alpha, entire remaining segment of positive half cycle of voltage will get applied across the load. And then from pi to pi plus alpha, this is pi plus alpha. At pi plus alpha, that is after another 90 degrees, T2, T4 pair is fired, but its firing is delayed by 90 degrees. So what will happen from pi to pi plus alpha? As I have already explained few moments back, T1 and T3 will continue to conduct because there is no freewheeling path, because current is flowing from alpha to pi. The current through the inductor increases, current through the load increases. I can show current through the load increasing. So it gives positive volt second area. That means inductor is storing the energy and voltage across inductor is positive. And then from pi to pi plus alpha, now it is time for inductor to release the energy. And when inductor releases energy, what will happen to the current? Current through the inductor will decrease. It will start decreasing. When inductor releases energy, current through it decreases. And during this period, there should be negative volt second area. And therefore, from pi to pi plus alpha, voltage across inductor should become negative. That is possible only if T1 and T3 will continue to conduct. T1 and T3 has started firing, conducting from here, and it will conduct from this instant of firing up to next instant of firing. And since T1 and T3 will continue to conduct, there is no freewheeling path. The energy will be fed back to the source. And since source voltage has reversed its polarity, negative voltage will get applied across the load. So therefore, a negative voltage will be applied across the load. This is negative segment of the load voltage. And now we can see this negative volt second area is exactly equal to positive volt second area. And then at this instant of time, T2 T4 pair is fired. T2 T4 pair is fired. So load gets connected across the source, and again a positive voltage appears across the load, and load stores the energy. Inductor again stores the energy. And then T2 T4 will continue to conduct up to next instant of firing, as in the previous case. And load voltage will be negative, and it will continue. It will continue. So this will be the nature of load voltage. This will be the nature of load voltage. And previously also we can assume, if we assume that previously conduction has not started here, it was already previously conducting, it's this steady state condition. So this will be your load voltage. Previously it was negative segment, then positive segment, negative segment. Now this is your load voltage, and this is load current ID. So load current again rises and then it again falls. Now you can see for alpha equal to 90 degrees, your load current is just continuous. Before, so it just becomes zero here, and immediately next firing occurs here. So we can say ID, load current, is just continuous. And an interesting thing is that negative volt second area is exactly equal to positive volt second area. That means energy released by the inductor is exactly equal to energy stored by the inductor, and it is according to the volt second balance. So, and what is average load voltage? Average load voltage is equal to 0, because negative area is exactly equal to positive area. So average voltage across inductor is 0. Whereas in the previous case, for alpha less than 90 degrees, the average load voltage across inductor was positive, because positive volt second area was always greater than negative volt second area, and that was violating the volt second balance, law of conservation of energy, and that was an abnormal operation. Here you can see the negative area is exactly equal to positive area. The energy released by inductor is exactly equal to energy stored, and current does not go on increasing. It is having a steady state value, and it is just continuous. So therefore alpha equal to 90 degrees is not an abnormal operation, it's a normal operation. And at alpha equal to 90 degrees, current, load current, is just continuous. That means your converter is operating in continuous conduction mode. Okay. Now let us see what happens if alpha is greater than 90 degrees. Very interesting analysis. Third case is, let alpha be greater than 90 degrees. So let us try to understand it with the help of waveforms again. This is your omega t axis. This is source voltage Vs, 0, pi, 2 pi, and so on. And now I will show you the firing pulse pattern, assuming alpha greater than 90 degrees. Alpha greater than 90 degrees, let's assume alpha is around 120 degrees, somewhere here. This is alpha. And here you can see alpha is greater than 90 degrees, around 120 degrees. So this is alpha. Since alpha is greater than 90 degrees, during positive half cycle of source voltage, T1, T3 pair has to be fired. So this firing pulse will simultaneously be issued to T1, T3 pair. And during negative half cycle of source voltage, which pair of devices has to be fired? T2, T4. So that means this is pi plus alpha, and here in the negative half cycle of source voltage, T2, T4 pair has to be fired. And then in next positive half cycle, T1, T3 pair has to be again fired, and then T2, T4 pair has to be again fired. So this shows the firing pulse pattern. Let me show you the load voltage waveform. And load current also. This is pi, this is 2 pi, and 3 pi, 4 pi, and these are all zero crossings. Okay, fine. Our first firing occurs here. This is alpha greater than 90 degrees. Here, positive half cycle of source voltage is there. T1, T3 pair is fired. It immediately goes into conduction and it connects load across the source. So load voltage is positive. It receives the remaining segment of positive half cycle of source voltage. This is the remaining segment of positive half cycle of source voltage. And during this period, T1, T3 pair will conduct. This is the next instant of firing. This is the next instant of firing. This is the next instant of firing. Now T1, T3 pair conducts from alpha to, this is alpha to pi, and load voltage is positive. That means voltage across inductor is positive. Current through the inductor will increase and it will store the energy. And then, as you already know, from pi to pi plus alpha, this is next instant of firing, pi to pi plus alpha, T1 and T3 pair, as per the previous logic, it should continue to flow because there is no freewheeling path. So T1, T3 was, this pair was conducting from alpha to pi. It will continue to conduct when negative half cycle of source voltage comes, when source voltage becomes negative. That means from pi to next instant of firing, pi to pi plus alpha, this pair should, as per the logic, it should continue to conduct. And if this pair continues to conduct, your load voltage during this period becomes negative. You can see, and your load voltage during this period is same as source voltage, negative source voltage. You can see it is same as negative source voltage. Okay, so that means from alpha to pi plus alpha, T1, T3 pair conducts. And then at pi plus alpha, what happens? T2, T4 pair is fired, and as soon as T2, T4 pair is fired, positive half cycle of source voltage is, segment segment of positive half cycle of source voltage appears across the load. And from 2 pi to 2 pi plus alpha, now you can see T2, T4 pair will conduct from 2 pi to 2 pi plus alpha. So from pi plus alpha to 2 pi, load voltage will be positive, and from 2 pi to 2 pi plus alpha, load voltage will be negative. You can see. And then it repeats positive, small positive, and large negative. This again shows something abnormal. Why? Our load is purely inductive in nature. Now in this case, it shows that negative volt second area is more than positive volt second area. Positive volt second area means inductor is storing the energy, and negative volt second area means inductor is releasing the energy. My question is it possible for a passive load like an inductive load, an inductor, to release energy more than the stored energy? Can released energy be more than stored energy? Answer is no. If this is your inductor, when it stores energy and during some period it has to release the energy, and the energy released by inductor, as per the law of conservation of energy, the energy released by the inductor should be exactly equal to energy stored by it, because it is not an active load. It does not have energy of its own. Whatever energy it releases, that is equal to energy stored by it. But for alpha greater than 90 degrees, it shows us that negative volt second area is much larger than positive volt second area. That means energy stored is less than energy released. So previously also there must be some negative volt. In other words, the energy released is more than energy stored, which is not possible. An inductor cannot release energy which is more than energy stored. It violates the law of conservation of energy. It would have been possible by the load to release energy more than energy stored only if it would have been an active load, if it had energy of its own, like a generator or a battery. But since inductor is a passive load, whatever energy it stores, same energy it releases, and energy released is always equal to energy stored. But for alpha greater than 90 degrees, we get a condition which tells us that energy released is more than energy stored, which is wrong. So I will put a cross here. It is not possible for a passive load. It is not possible for an inductor, an inductive load, to release energy more than the energy stored. So therefore, this is not the correct waveform. So we have to correct this. Instead of drawing, all waveforms again, I will just correct the load voltage waveform. What should be the actual load voltage waveform? Your actual load voltage waveform will be something like this. Let me draw these zero crossing points again. Pi, this is 2 pi, 3 pi, 4 pi, and so on. And let me draw complete cycles and negative cycles also. Now your first firing occurs here. This is alpha greater than 90 degrees. And during the positive half cycle of source voltage, thyristor T1 and T3 have to be fired, and they are fired at alpha greater than 90 degrees somewhere here. And this pair immediately goes into conduction. It connects load to the source, and since source voltage is positive, the same voltage appears across the load. So load voltage is also positive. Remaining segment of positive half cycle of source voltage appears across the load. So this is load voltage, small positive. Now apply the volt-second balance here. Your load volt-second balance says that during this period, the energy is stored by the inductor. It has positive volt-second area. And then during the, from pi to pi plus alpha, this is your pi plus alpha. The inductor should release the energy, but the energy released according to volt-second balance should be exactly same. It should be equal to energy stored. So you can very easily find if this area shows the energy stored. Somewhere here, this area will show the energy released. So therefore, let me call this point, this angle as beta. So from pi to beta, negative half cycle of source voltage has already come there. Okay, T1 and T3 will continue to conduct, and voltage across load will be same as negative segment of positive half cycle, negative segment of the source voltage, but not the entire negative half segment. It will be this much. So I mean, from alpha to pi, your current was increasing because load voltage was positive, current through the inductor was increasing, and it reached peak value at omega t equal to pi. And from pi onwards, what will happen to the current? Current will decrease, and when current decreases, it will become zero somewhere here. It will become zero at beta. Beta is called extinction angle. This is the angle at which your load current ID becomes zero. And when load current becomes zero, that means T1 and T3 are turned off. Your load is disconnected from the source, and from beta onwards, your load voltage is zero. So therefore, what happens? From alpha to pi, T1, T3 pair is conducting. Load voltage is equal to positive half segment of source voltage. From pi to beta, what happens to the load current? Load current now falls, and it becomes zero at beta. The beta is the point at which the energy released is exactly equal to energy stored. So you can see from pi to pi plus from pi to beta, the source voltage has reversed its polarity. A segment of negative half cycle of source voltage will appear across the load because T1 and T3 are continuously conducting, but they will not conduct up to next instant of firing. They will conduct only up to beta, because at beta your current becomes zero, load current becomes zero. And when load current becomes zero, that means T1 and T3 are off. And since T2 and T4 are already off, all the four devices are off, and load is disconnected from the source, and thereafter load voltage becomes zero. So therefore, negative half, negative volt second area is exactly equal to positive volt second area, and volt second balance is not violated here. So that means energy released is exactly equal to energy stored. It will happen in the next half cycle also. Now, this is your pi plus alpha. At pi plus alpha, firing pulse is issued to other pair of devices, T2 and T4. Because this is now positive, this is negative, source voltage has reversed its polarity. T2, T4 are waiting for firing pulses. They are fired at pi plus alpha, and they will immediately go into conduction, and load voltage again becomes segment of positive half cycle of source voltage. So from beta to pi plus alpha, load voltage is zero, and then it is positive. Current again rises, it reaches maximum here, and then it decreases, it becomes 0 at beta plus 2 pi somewhere here. And from 2 pi to 2 pi to beta plus 2 pi, your load voltage is negative segment of source voltage, and negative volt second is exactly equal to positive volt second, and it continues for subsequent cycles. That's it. So this is your load voltage waveform. I will shade it. This is the load voltage waveform for next cycle. This is the load voltage waveform for next cycle. And this is the current waveform. So therefore, what type of current is flowing through the converter? It is not continuous, it is discontinuous, and it has to be discontinuous. Because if you assume that current is continuous, then continuous current will give negative volt second area more than positive volt second area, which violates the law of conservation of energy, which violates the volt second balance, which says that energy released is more than energy stored. No, that's not the case. Energy released is always equal to energy stored. If this area shows energy stored, this area is energy released. And when energy released is equal to energy stored, current automatically becomes 0. And from up to next instant of firing, your current remains 0, and load voltage also remains 0. So load voltage during these periods, during these intervals, is 0. So therefore, your thyristor pair T1, T3 will conduct from alpha to beta, T1, T3. Then from beta to pi plus alpha, no device will conduct. From pi plus alpha to 2 pi plus beta, other pair will conduct, T2, T4. And then again, T1, T3, and then again T2, T4. So therefore, for alpha greater than 90 degrees, the conduction will be automatically discontinuous. It will result in discontinuous conduction mode of operation because of the volt second balance, which says, because it will not violate the volt second balance, which says negative area is exactly equal to positive area. So current from alpha to pi is rising. There is positive voltage across the load, and energy gets stored in the inductor in the load. And from pi to beta, current falls. And when current falls, voltage across the inductor is negative. And negative volt second area means inductor is releasing the energy, and energy released should be equal to energy stored. So at beta, current will be 0. So alpha greater than 90 degrees will always give discontinuous conduction mode of operation. What will be the nature of source current? Source current, I already told you, IS will be equal to plus IT when T1, T3 pair is conducting. And it will be equal to minus IT when other pair, T2, T4 pair is on. T1, T3 pair is on from alpha to pi and up to beta. So your source current will be like this. This will be your source current. And then it will be negative when T2, T4 pair is on. That is from this point to this point, it will be negative. So this is source current waveform, IS. It is positive, negative. So AC current is flowing. So this completes our discussions on a purely inductive load. So the conclusion is that, the summary of the discussion is that alpha less than 90 degrees for a purely inductive load is an abnormal operation, because for alpha less than 90 degrees, your positive volt second area will be always greater than negative volt second area. So that means inductor energy released will be always less than energy stored. So the current will, with every passing half cycle, current will go on increasing and increasing till you see smoke coming out of the circuit. So that will result in damage to the circuit, because current is going on increasing and increasing, because energy stored is always greater than energy released. So that is an abnormal operation, not possible. So therefore, if you have a purely inductive load, you cannot operate purely inductive load for alpha less than 90 degrees. That is an abnormal operation. Next case was alpha 90 degrees. At alpha equal to 90 degrees, the conduction is just continuous, and volt second balance is not violated, that is followed. Positive volt second area is equal to negative volt second area, and you get voltage waveform like this. Okay, and average load voltage is 0, and current is just continuous. And for alpha greater than 90 degrees, we have seen that if you draw the waveform and assume current continuous, then volt second balance is again violated, because negative volt second area will be more than positive volt second area, which means energy released will be more than energy stored, which is not possible with a passive load. So therefore, energy released has to be equal to energy stored, and if you apply that volt second balance here, it will always result in discontinuous conduction mode of operation. So alpha less than 90 degrees is abnormal operation, so that is ruled out. Alpha equal to 90 degrees will give continuous conduction mode of operation, and alpha greater than 90 degrees will give discontinuous conduction mode of operation. So I hope you have understood. In case of any difficulties, you can get connected to me, you can ask your queries. That was for RL load. That was for purely inductive load, L load. Let us quickly go for the third type of load, which is a most practical load, RL load, resistive inductive load, CRL load. Our circuit diagram is already drawn there. I will only change the load. Now load is RL. R has a resistive component, it has an inductive component. We have an RL load. Okay. Now again we will try to understand its operation with the help of waveforms. So this is source voltage waveform. This is pi to pi and so on. Let us assume, let alpha be less than 90 degrees somewhere here. This is alpha. And firing pulse pattern is like this. This is the first firing pulse to T1, T3 pair. Next firing pulse during negative half cycle will be issued to other pair, T2, T4. Next firing pulse to another pair, T1, T3, and during the next negative half cycle, T2, T4. This is alpha, less than 90 degrees, less than 90 degrees. This is pi plus alpha and so on. We can understand its operation with help of waveforms. Let us draw the load voltage waveform. For that, I have to draw these zero crossing projections, pi, 2 pi, and so on. Now alpha is less than 90 degrees, so this is my alpha. After alpha degrees, after a delay angle of alpha, source voltage is positive, there is positive half cycle of source voltage, so this terminal is positive with respect to this. T1, T3 pair will immediately go into conduction. Load, that is RL load, will get connected directly across the source, and remaining segment of positive half cycle of source voltage will get applied across the load. So this is the remaining segment of positive half cycle of source voltage which will get applied across the load. Let me draw these firing instants first. Next firing instant is here. Next firing instant is here. You should first draw these firing instants. That will make analysis easy. So this is my load voltage, VD. From alpha to pi, now what is the pair of devices which is conducting? T1, T3. The question is, this pair of devices will conduct, it will not stop conducting here. It will conduct up to next instant of firing, pi plus alpha. From alpha to pi, your source voltage is positive, load voltage is also positive. At pi, source voltage is 0, so load voltage is also 0. And then negative half cycle of source voltage comes. So source voltage becomes negative. Okay, so this terminal becomes positive with respect to this, but T1, T3 pair will continue to conduct because there is no freewheeling path. Since current is still flowing, inductor is releasing the energy, so current will continue to flow, and current will flow through T3 and T1 again. And since source voltage has reversed its polarity, a negative voltage will get applied across the load. A segment of negative half cycle of voltage will get applied across the load as shown here. So therefore, T1, T3 pair will conduct from alpha to pi plus alpha. That means from first firing to next instant of firing. And at pi plus alpha, T2, T4 pair, negative half cycle of source voltage is there. So T2, T4 pair is already waiting for the firing pulse. It's issued here. So T2, T4 pair will conduct, and a positive voltage will again appear across the load. As you already know, segment of positive half cycle of source voltage will appear across the load, and then 2 pi to 2 pi plus alpha, that is up to next instant of firing, T2, T4 pair will continue to conduct. T2, T4 pair. So that means a segment of negative half cycle of source voltage will get applied across the load, and this will continue in the subsequent half cycles. So this is the nature of load voltage. Now here current is rising, it is reaching. So this is since this is an RL load, current will start rising from here. It will reach maximum value not at pi by 2, not at pi, between pi by 2 and pi, somewhere here, and then current will start falling. Current fall hona shuru ho jayegi. So current will start falling. Before it becomes zero, next instant of firing occurs. So current again starts rising, falls, again rises, falls, and so on. Okay, we can assume that load is sufficiently inductive. If load is sufficiently inductive, in that case, this load can be modeled as a current source, and all these ripples in the load current can be removed. So I can show it as a constant current. If load is sufficiently inductive, so that load is modeled as a current source, your load current in that case will be like this. This is the load current ID. Ripple free, it does not have any ripples. Let's assume load is ripple free. Load current is ripple free because load is sufficiently inductive in such a way that load current is modeled as a current source. Load is modeled as a current source. So load current ID is constant and ripple free. So this is the nature of load voltage waveform. Now here positive area has to be greater than negative area because we don't have only L, we have R as well as L. The energy is consumed by the resistance. Okay, because of consumption of energy by the resistance, positive area will be here again always greater than negative area. But if you try to find the voltage across inductor and volt-second balance in the inductor, you can draw that waveform separately. For inductor, you will always see that positive volt-second area is equal to negative volt-second area, and average voltage across inductor alone is 0. But if you take R and L both together, the nature of load voltage will be like this. Positive voltage will be always greater than negative voltage, or positive area will be greater than negative area because of presence of resistance in the load. So because resistance always consumes the energy, it takes energy from the source and it consumes that energy. So this is the nature of load voltage waveform. Okay, what will be the nature of source current? I will repeat that source current IS is equal to plus ID when T1, T3 pair is on. T1, T3 pair is on. And it is equal to minus ID when the other pair of devices is on. That is T2, T4 pair is on. T2. So you can see T1, T3 pair is on from alpha to pi plus alpha, and IS should be equal to plus ID. So this is your IS. It is plus ID. This is your source current IS. And from pi plus alpha to 2 pi plus alpha, T2, T4 pair is on, and your source current is minus ID. It is equal to minus ID. And then previously also it was minus ID. So this is the nature of source current. So source current is rectangular in nature and it is continuous. Okay. So this is the nature of source current. Now let us try to draw the derive the mathematical expression for load voltage, average load voltage. So average load voltage will be BD is equal to, I can take one segment, I mean one half cycle, 1 by pi integration. Now your thyristor pair T1, T3 is fired at alpha. So lower limit of integration will be alpha, and your conduction continues from alpha to pi plus alpha. T1, T3 starts conducting from alpha and it continues conducting up to pi plus alpha. So this gives you segment of the voltage. And then other segments of voltage are identical to the first segment of voltage. So therefore, I can just take one segment of voltage and integrate it from alpha to pi plus alpha, and it will give me average load voltage. And during this period, alpha to pi plus alpha, what is your load voltage? It is same as source voltage. It has a positive segment and it has a negative segment, but it is same as source voltage. So this is Vs d omega t, because your source voltage is Vs. So that is equal to 1 by pi integration from alpha to pi plus alpha. Vs is Vm sine omega t, d omega t. So that is equal to Vm by pi. Integration of sine omega t is minus cos omega t, and integration limits are alpha to pi plus alpha. That is Vm by pi minus cos of pi plus alpha plus cos alpha. Now cos of pi plus alpha is minus cos alpha. Minus and minus will become plus. So therefore, average load voltage Vd will be equal to Vm by pi cos alpha plus cos alpha is 2 cos alpha. So Vd is equal to 2 Vm by pi cos alpha. That is equal to 2 root 2 Vs by pi cos alpha, because Vm is equal to root 2 Vs. So this is the mathematical expression for converter average output voltage. Let us see the, remember, this is also true, it is also valid for continuous conduction mode of operation. This equation, mathematical expression for converter average output voltage, is valid only for continuous conduction mode of operation. It does not apply to discontinuous conduction mode of operation. Okay, so remember, this is very important point. I will come to it at a later stage. So it is valid for continuous conduction mode of operation only. So if you plot the variation of average output voltage of full converter with respect to alpha, so you will get something like this. This is alpha and this is Vd, average output voltage. And this is minus Vd. This is 0 degree. This is 90 degrees, alpha 90 degrees and alpha 180 degrees. Now we can see at alpha equal to 0 degree, average output voltage. What is cos 0? Cos 0 is 1. So cos 0 is equal to 1. So average output voltage is 2 root 2 Vs by pi. Maximum. So at alpha equal to 0 degree, average output voltage is maximum. Let us call this Vd max, maximum average output voltage. So it is somewhere here, Vd max is 2 root 2 Vs by pi. Then as you increase alpha, as alpha increases, cos alpha decreases, which means average output voltage decreases. And at alpha equal to 90 degrees, what is cos 90 degrees? Cos 90 degrees is 0. So therefore, average output voltage will be 0. So at alpha equal to 90 degrees, average output voltage will be 0. Okay. So therefore, your average output voltage will vary like this. At alpha equal to 0 degree, it is maximum, Vd max. As alpha increases, average output voltage decreases, and when you reach alpha equal to 90 degrees, average output voltage becomes 0. What happens beyond 90 degrees? For alpha greater than 90 degrees, cos alpha becomes negative. So your voltage becomes negative till when you reach alpha equal to 180 degrees. What is cos 180 degrees? Cos 180 degrees is minus 1. So therefore your average output voltage is minus 2 root 2 Vs by pi. And 2 root 2 Vs by pi, we already know it is maximum average output voltage. So it is minus Vd max. So if this is plus Vd max, this will be minus Vd max. And it happens at alpha equal to 180 degrees. So this is average output voltage. So therefore, the variation of average output voltage is like this. From 0 to 90 degrees, average output voltage is positive. At alpha equal to 0 degree, it is maximum, Vd max. As alpha increases, average output voltage decreases till alpha is 90 degrees. At alpha equal to 90 degrees, average output voltage is 0. And beyond 90 degrees, From 90 to 180 degrees, average output voltage increases but negative, it becomes negative. Till you reach alpha equal to 180 degrees, at alpha equal to 180 degrees, average output voltage is maximum negative. This is very interesting. That means your converter can produce positive average output voltage as well as negative average output voltage. So that means if this is your, if I show the schematic diagram of your converter, this is your converter, this is AC and this is DC, VD. This is VS AC. From 0 to 90 degrees, average output voltage is positive. It's positive. That means this direction of power flow is like this. Power flows from AC side. PD means load power or power consumed by the load. It flows from AC to DC side. So it flows from input to output. So what your converter does, it converts AC into DC, and the transfer of power is from input to output, from source to load. So in that case, we say that your converter operates as a rectifier in the rectification mode. R means rectification mode, because it converts AC into DC, and conversion of AC into DC means rectification, and power flows from AC side to DC side. Fine. From alpha between 90 and 180 degrees, average output voltage is not positive, it is negative. That means from 90 to 180 degrees, average output voltage becomes negative. And negative average output, so current is always positive. Current cannot reverse its direction. Negative average output voltage means power is negative. Okay? Negative power means that power is now flowing in the reverse direction. Power is flowing from DC side to AC side. It is possible power to flow from DC side to AC side only when, this is the direction of power. On the DC side, you have DC, it has to be converted back into AC, and power has to be injected back into the AC source. So in that case, since power flows from DC to AC, your converter operates as an inverter, because since power flows from DC to AC, you have to convert this DC power into AC power and supply it back to the source. So in that case, your converter operates in the inversion mode of operation, as inversion. So from 90 to 180 degrees, your converter operates as inverter. So therefore, if you see the quadrant operation, this is ID, this is plus VD, this is minus VD. For alpha, that is delay angle between 0 and 90 degrees, average output voltage is positive and current is always positive. So your converter operates in first quadrant. Current can never be negative, because negative current means current has to flow from cathode to anode. And SCR always conducts current from anode to cathode, not from cathode to anode. So current cannot reverse its direction. Voltage polarity can reverse, but current cannot reverse direction. So current is always positive. So your current is positive in the rectification mode of operation from 0 to 90 degrees, and voltage is also positive. So what is power? Power is the product of voltage and current, VD into ID. Since VD is positive, ID is positive, so power is positive in the rectification mode of power. And positive power means power is flowing from AC side to DC side, right? Input to output, AC to DC. And your converter is operating in the rectification mode. And from 90 to 180 degrees, what is average output voltage? Average output voltage is negative, but current is positive. So your converter operates in fourth quadrant. This is first quadrant, this is second quadrant, this is third quadrant, and this is fourth quadrant. In the fourth quadrant, current is positive, but load voltage is negative. So what is power? Power is voltage into current. Since average load voltage is negative, so negative voltage into positive current means power is negative. And negative power means direction of power flow has reversed. It is flowing from DC to AC. Okay, so therefore your converter converts DC into AC and supplies power back to the source. And since it converts DC into AC and supplies power back to the source, it is operating as a line commutated inverter. So it is operating in the inversion mode. So therefore your converter is a two quadrant converter, whereas you have seen a single phase semi converter is a single quadrant converter. It operates only, that converter operates only in the first quadrant. In that converter, voltage and current always positive. So you have seen in the previous lecture, in semi converter, power always flows from AC side to DC side. Reverse flow of power is not possible. So a semi converter always operates in the rectification mode of operation only, not in the inversion mode of operation. Whereas the single phase fully controlled converter or full converter, It's a two-quadrant converter. I will write here two-quadrant converter. It is capable of operating in the first quadrant as well as fourth quadrant. In the first quadrant, average output voltage is positive and delay angle range is 0 to 90 degrees, and power is positive. That means power flows from AC to DC side, and it operates in the rectification mode of operation. In the fourth quadrant, average output voltage is negative. The firing or delay angle range is 90 to 180 degrees. Average output voltage is negative, and power also becomes negative. That means power flows from DC to AC. So that means your converter, same converter, now operates as inverter in the inversion mode of operation. So this is a two-quadrant converter. It is capable of operating in the rectification mode of operation as well as in the inversion mode of operation. For alpha 0 to 90 degrees, your converter operates in the rectification mode of operation, and average output voltage is positive and power is also positive. That means power flows from AC to DC side. And for the delay angle range, 90 degrees to 180 degrees, your converter operates as an inverter in the inversion mode of operation. In the fourth quadrant, average output voltage is negative and power is also negative. That means power flows from DC to AC side. Okay. So this is the since the converter is capable of operating in first as well as fourth quadrant, it from 0 to 90 degrees delay angle, it operates as rectifier, and power flows from AC side to DC side, and from for 90 to 180 degrees delay angle range, it operates as an inverter and power flows back from DC to AC side. That's why it's called fully controlled converter or full converter, unlike a semi-converter which operates only in the first quadrant, in which power flow is only from AC to DC side. So this converter can make power flow from AC to DC or DC to AC. It is capable of operating in the rectification mode as well as inversion mode. So that's why it's called full converter or fully controlled converter. So more on it, inshallah, in our next lecture. In our next lecture, we will see how the converter operates for alpha greater than 90 degrees and how inversion takes place. So with this, I conclude my today's lecture. Thank you.